What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some big data that's coming out very soon. That's going to cause some more volatility in the markets. What you should be watching for as time goes on. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. Not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. The offer ends very soon, in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So, as far as SPY is going, as you guys can see, it's making lower highs again, and again. And we have this gap to fill. So, I do anticipate a little bit of a dip that's coming. But what's worth noting is the fact that around 169 or 569, excuse me, we have our 200 EMA where we're trying to get bought back up. Not to mention 568, as there are some buyers trying to step in. So, we might see a little bit of a dip that could be coming, but there are buyers trying to defend 568. So look for a little bit of a dip before we see some buyers try to come back in, as the market's kind of range bound right now. And the market's waiting for the election for a much bigger move. Before that, we do have some data coming in I want to talk about before I break down more details. So know that today is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. It is election day. 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Composite PMI coming out. So look for some volatility when that comes out. But the main time for bigger volatility is 10 o'clock a.m. because we have the ISM Services PMI, business activity, new orders and prices all coming out. New orders are going to be one of the biggest pieces of data, as it's going to give us more future looking insights on how things are going to be looking. So watch for that very, very carefully. That's what I'm basically seeing, at least moving forward. Now, one thing worth mentioning is the fact that at 10 o'clock a.m. expect some volatility. That's in Eastern Standard Time. But the bigger thing that's going to cause even more volatility is going to be the election after the market already closes. We have this big election that's going on. Millions of Americans are going to be voting for who they deem to be one of the best, or at least more decent fits for president in their personal opinions. So get ready for some very, very crazy stuff. And then this is going to cause a big move in the markets. I already kind of like went over how, if we were to get a Harris victory, we're going to see some tech stocks like Google try to run, but then we're going to see some sectors try to run, but then other ones are going to be a little bit weaker, such as Bitcoin. Bitcoin might see a small dip, and so would Tesla, whereas some other EVs could also still run alongside other tech stocks. The whole market could still run even if Harris were to win, but some individual stocks and cryptos could be dipping. If we get a Trump victory, there's a very, very good chance that Bitcoin's going to pump initially. So will Tesla as a result. And then other stocks, some tech stocks will also try to pump alongside energy. However, just know that that's just the initial reaction I'm talking about. I'm not referring to like the longer term. For the longer term, but regardless of what happens, if there is some kind of dip that comes next year, there's going to be a nice bull run that's going to be happening during the mid to end of the terms of these presidents, regardless of who it is. I'm just trying to be very unbiased when I say that. I'm just referring to like the short term reaction to who ends up winning possibly tonight. Now, I hope we get the results tonight. Sometimes they're delayed. Sometimes it takes a while for them to count. So we'll see. But I just wanted to call that out. For today, in terms of earnings, it's very, very minor. There's not really much coming out. But then we have super micro after the market closes. So just keep that in mind. And then in terms of things and how things are going right now, all eyes are just on the election. That's what's making up the majority of people's views, their attention right now. That's just going to be very, very big, at least for the markets and etc. Palantir saw a nice move to the upside as the earnings that just came out. They basically beat on revenue, so that's very, very good for them. And their full year guidance was above expectations at $2.8 billion. That is the reason why we saw a very, very nice amount of growth from them. That's why shares are up right now. Good job by Palantir. So, anyways, let's talk about the market. Looking at SPY, we have this gap to fill down here. So I do anticipate it might dip a little bit to try to fill that gap. But then don't forget, guys, there is potential for us to try to get a nice rebound off our 200 EMA. So we could be dipping back down right here, then attempt to rebound back up. So look for 568 to potentially be tested and a bounce back up, and a lot of sideways price action just like yesterday. The 4 hour is telling us, though, that this has a bullish divergence forming. So it might attempt to, bounce once we get the election results. That's a possibility now. Not going to guarantee it, though. I would still say play it very, very safe and to manage risks, but just know that the chart does suggest that is a possibility. ES is rejecting right here. There might be a little bit of a dip coming towards about 57.40 or a little bit below that. So look for a dip in the morning. Then look for some volatility that's coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. once we get the ISM services data. But then if we could try to reclaim 57.70, we're going to try to bounce. And if we lose 57.20, we turn more bearish. I believe we're going to be looking for a small dip to about 57.40, if not closer to where these lows were from yesterday. Then a move back up to 57.60, a lot of sideways price action. But then as the day goes on, there might be an attempt to bounce. Just keep that in mind, guys. There's still a lot of fear associated with the election. Nvidia is trying to push, but we're below 138. You got to reclaim that to turn back up. I wouldn't be surprised if it kind of pushes a bit, then starts dipping back down to fill the gap towards the 136 area, then bounces again, sees a lot of sideways price action. The election will cause a big reaction, so we're just going to wait for that. But for now, look for some sideways price action on Nvidia. Bitcoin's going to try to push for basically 69,000, maybe even 69,200. But whether we get a big bounce or not depends on different factors. If Trump ends up winning, we're going to be looking for a big push on Bitcoin overnight, especially if it's announced tonight. If not, if it's a Harris victory, there's going to be a little bit of a dip on Bitcoin, but then it's going to run later on, no matter who is president. So I'm just trying to be unbiased when I say that. That is what I believe is the most likely case. As far as Tesla goes, we're trading sideways. Uh, Tesla could try to push for 248 and actually dip a little bit. We have this gap around 243.5. So between 244 and 248, we might see a lot of sideways price action. But later on, especially if we do get a Trump victory, this will be running. It is looking a little bit more bullish on the 4 hours, so there is potential in this. But we'll see just to be safe. Nothing is necessarily guaranteed. For NQ, it looks like it's just trading sideways between 20,200 and 20,000 flat. Might be dipping closer to 20,000 and a bounce back up and just trade sideways. But then we'll see if we get a bounce later on or not. Look for some sideways price action for now, and we'll see what the reaction happens to be. Same thing with the QQQ. We have resistance at 488 and support around this 484 area. It's going to likely trade sideways for now, so look for a little bit of a dip. Then we could be looking for a bounce back up to about 489 later on. But look for a lot of sideways price action. That's all I'm really seeing between 489 and 484 for the triple Q. For Apple, we're also trading sideways here. We're looking for 220 as support and 222 as resistance. We might trade sideways and try pushing for 222 plus. So we'll see how Apple ends up doing, but overall, it's doing a great job at holding up. So it does look like it wants to bounce. The IWM might actually dip to about the 218s before it tries to rebound again. So I do anticipate a little bit of a downside move. 219.5 to 218 could be coming before it tries to bounce back up. So watch for that on the IWM. Coinbase looks a little bit more bullish trying to base here. It might dip a little bit towards about 182 before it tries to rebound. So watch for that very carefully. For Amazon, we're looking at 194 as our main support. It held support so far, so it could attempt to rebound for 198. So give it some time to develop. For Meta, we look a little bit more bullish on the 4 hour as long as we don't lose 559. We're favoring a push back up to 565 or above. For Microsoft, we're trying to rebound. We'll just have to see if it could break past 412 or not, so give it some time. And then same thing with Google. We're just trading sideways between 172 and 170. It's going to likely continue to do that until the election comes out, depending on if we get a Harris victory. It would prefer that, I believe, because of many antitrust laws and other factors like that. But once again, guys, I thank you all so much for listening, so please have a great day. I do anticipate a little bit of downside that's coming to the markets, a lot of sideways price action for now, but there is potential for us to get some kind of bounce after the election, just looking at the chart itself. Not a guarantee. There is potential, though. We'll have to see how it goes and who wins. With that being said, guys, have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.